Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Kenya.
Welcome to the This and That Chat. What are you bouncy about?
For the first time ever, I can hear the music.
How'd you hear it? Oh, because I had it. I wasn't.
You weren't plugged in all the way.
I was like this.
Wow. I was like, wait. Is it the voices in my head? I can hear the music.
Yes.
So
how are you today, my beautiful woman?
Hey. Well, hopefully aging like fine wine.
It's not your birthday yet.
But it's my birthday week.
It is your birthday week.
Which can we discuss? Pet peeves.
Pet peeves? We're going straight there?
That's not where we
Bro,
were.
I've got stuff like
in your pockets?
In my pocket like crazy. Look.
Oh, look at you.
Gotta make sure I look good for the camera.
It's so funny because we just watched a guy on Twitch. We were
Oh,
watching his stream and he sat there the entire Dodger game because sadly we were unable to watch it at home. He was streaming it and the whole time he had a little comb and he kept just passing over the same thing. And then
his three hairs?
Bro, why'd you spoil it? I'm going there.
Forget everything I said.
Why?
Rewind.
No, never mind.
Go ahead.
Moving ahead now.
Isn't that the way we do it, though?
Pet peeves.
That's one of them?
No, I wasn't going to start with pet peeves, but I
have something to start with.
Taste for, let's do like my birthday
sour
month.
Cream.
My birthday month. My birthday week.
Oh,
like
you're saying that's the distaste?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
I was about to say, I'm here.
Day.
I'm like, what am I hearing? Are we doing this?
I know. It's like to each their own, right? Every trash can has a lid, right? But
what?
I mean, that's what I mean. Like
I've never heard that saying before. Is it a saying or are you making it up?
I don't know if it's a saying. What I'm saying is that to each their own. That's where they say one man's trash is another man's treasure.
That one I've heard.
Okay, well, so what I'm saying is you might look at something and...
Thank you, AI, for being so helpful.
What do you mean?
The statement, every garbage can has a lid, is generally true. And it goes into why garbage cans are designed the way they are and why they have trash lids.
Oh, my.
Has nothing to do with the fact that...
Wait, remember the commercials with Captain Obvious?
Yes.
This is it right here. It's like, no, for real? What? Oh. Captain Obvious.
Okay. This is somebody...
Originated from there.
This is Reddit.
Okay.
It says, I grew up with the saying, every trash can has a lid, meaning that there's something for everyone. You had to have heard it somewhere.
That has to be me in another life on Reddit. Our alternate universe is colliding.
Look.
Bro, you know that there is a theory, and I don't know what you think about this. Chat, we're going to be all over the place today.
There's a shirt.
Oh, my. Every garbage can has its lid. Whoa, but who is that?
I have no idea. Leslie Jordan. I don't even know who it is.
Who is Leslie Jordan?
Google is busy today.
Wow.
Leslie
We're not starting off
Jordan.
well here.
Yeah, we always start like this. He's an American actor. He was known for very small stature. Oh my goodness, it's the old guy from Will and Grace.
Oh, maybe he said it on Will and Grace, a show which I've never watched.
Never watched it.
You either? Really?
Nope.
It would have been your time, though. And by time, I mean...
He was in a lot of stuff.
The time that everyone was watching TV but me.
So during that time, when Will and Grace was on, my show of choice was Wings.
That sounds like some sort of Air Force.
No. So check this out. Listen to the premise of this stupid show.
Okay.
It was a small airport. Okay. And they had little private planes. and they had like a little bar area or like a little like food place, and
A
it was
lounge,
like a lounge,
okay.
two pilots and the bartender person. It was kind of like,
Was it a sitcom?
yeah, it was
But
like
it only took place in the lounge.
in the lounge. It was a cheap version of Cheers.
Another show I've never seen.
Yeah, that's where Woody Harrelson started.
Really? Wow.
And we've had a lot of conversation about Woody Harrelson this past week.
Yeah. Wow. Woody Harrelson was also
My throat
in
is like
Very Dry. Brought you water.
is very much.
Get all cleared up there. Anyway, back to the birthday thing.
It sounds like
To each
I'm
their
a
own.
radio.
To each their own, but not even kids do this. No parent anywhere right now can tell me that they are introducing or pushing the idea to their children. It's your birthday month. It's bad enough.
A parent is not doing that
A parent is not doing that, right?
because
It's already so hectic for most parents to plan the birthday party, and it's your birthday, and then it's like what do you want to eat, and gifts and all stuff. You imagine a birthday month? Do you
No,
imagine
thank
a
you.
birthday week? So adults are the ones who invented this. All right. And then if you were in a friend group, I'm very curious, right? If you're in a friend group and you have a friend it's my birthday month, right? Do you have to give them gifts throughout the month? Do you pick one day, their birthday, let's say, the novelty of that idea, to give them birthday gifts?
You're lucky if you get one gift from me.
Me?
It's the truth. No, not you,
Oh,
bro.
that's what I was going to say. What are you talking about?
We celebrate birthday year.
Bro.
We do though.
No, we do not. No,
We
we do
don't.
not. No, that's not how it is.
Can I say what happened this week?
Let me.
I know it's close to your birthday. I know it's close to your birthday.
Let me give a back story to this, a little fine print before you say your part.
Yeah.
Okay. What we do is we just celebrate life.
L'chaim.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
So
that's it.
you ordered a book that my guess was on a pre-order.
Yes.
And it happens to come in a couple days ago. Now your birthday is on the day that the podcast comes out. No. Your birthday's on Friday. But it happened.
Which surprisingly is the day after the podcast comes out.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Don't mess with my train of thought here. Okay, hold on. I got to get this out of my system.
Oh boy. We are all over the place today.
Can I get it out of my system?
What song is that? It's on my head. Yeah.
I don't know.
No! Please.
Okay, hold on. I got to get this out of my system.
Okay, go.
I sound like a baseball announcer in my head right now because of my raspiness in my throat. I sound like a baseball announcer. So I have to get something out of my system. Can I?
Okay, sure.
Count. It's 3-2 to Freddie Freeman, and he's about to get the pitch down the middle. Oh, it's a long fly ball out to left field. Going back. It's gone! 3-run home run for Freddie Freeman. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been on a hot streak this week. Okay, I got it out of my system. Thank you very much.
Wouldn't that be a grand slam?
What?
Wouldn't that be a grand slam?
I never said how many people are on base,
Well, you said it was a 3-run home run.
which means that there's 2 people on base.
Including him?
He's the third run.
Oh.
A grand slam is 4.
I thought there were 3 and,
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm not that great of an announcer because I would have said with runners in second and third, Freddie is getting the pay.
runners on either side. Listen, I think you have a very nice voice.
I know, but I'm feeling
hear
it though.
you.
Like,
Listen,
what was I
for
talking about?
myself-
Wait, before I lose my complete train of thought, I was talking about something. Do you remember?
If you give me a minute. Because Because I was talking about the birthday. You said
Oh, yeah, the
you
book.
barely
Got
give
it.
a gift.
Got it.
Okay,
I'm back. Go ahead and finish your statement.
go ahead. I don't want to throw you off.
No. I just had to remember what it was so that I don't forget.
Okay, so you're good.
I'm good.
I don't remember what I was saying anymore. I was saying many things, and nothing is gonna reach a conclusion today. Because it's just too many things happening at once.
Yeah.
There's a song. There's an earworm I have now. You know, you should just play
Oh,
that
wait.
song. No, when you find it, we'll
Hey
do
Siri,
that later.
what song is this?
Naming that tune.
Come on, don't let me down. And she's not going to be able to do it.
That song I know. Don't Let Me Down. Chainsmokers.
Sorry, I don't know what song this is.
Siri is useless.
Don't let her hear you say that. I won't be spoken to that way.
I get that a lot from her.
Anyway,
Okay, so wait. Let me go back to finish mine. Maybe you remember yours, or do you remember it? Okay, so you ordered a book. Who knows how long ago? And it comes in this week, and you thought it was a present that was sent to you by someone. And you got so excited because you're like, oh, it's for my birthday. I'm so excited. And you were talking about it and all this kind of stuff. And then we're sitting there watching the game. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, wait. I ordered that. So you ordered yourself something for your birthday. Now, that's different as to what happened to your brother, which I thought was pretty funny. And I do want to share that because it's kind of in the same line.
Mm-hmm.
So back in March, I found something that I thought your brother would like for his bar area because he really likes Bigfoot. So it's this like glass jar that
It's a decanter.
a decanter for whiskey, and it's Bigfoot, like, you know, looking like Bigfoot, and then you put it in there, and it got to him, and the last person that he asked was me if I had sent it to him, even though I had talked to him back in March and told him I was sending him something. He had completely forgotten, but he told me that he was asking all the siblings who sent him something because there was no name on it. So
I think it's a trait
Sorry.
that runs in our family where we have trouble remembering certain things. Not everybody, but I do find that there's there has been many times where someone will say, for example, in our family chat, someone will send a trailer to a movie they just watched and they're like, family, this is the most exciting movie that I've watched this year. Must watch for everybody. Highly recommend. And then somebody will say, I sent that 2 months ago, right? And they're like, what? Because everyone starts praising the person who just sent it. Like, wow, amazing trailer. Can't wait to watch. Putting it on my watch list. And it's like, and nobody said anything when you sent it, right? And that person will say, I sent this months ago, and nobody remembers.
does that happen to you?
I think it happens to, I mean, it has
To
happened
you?
to me. It has happened to me. But there's other people who have said, I have posted something and no one said anything. And now this person's saying it. And
So
it happens.
I feel now this is coming from someone that it's happened to.
Okay.
Okay, so it happens. It has happened to me, right? So, and I think it was in a conversation that you and I actually discussed this. But there are times where I will send something, and then you will send the exact same thing in a very short span of time.
To each other?
No.
Oh.
Like we'll put it on the family chat or we'll put it somewhere. and you'll get the response to it. And I'm over here like, bro, I just put that out there and everyone went over mine. And there's times where I've even told you, hey, can you post this real quick? Because I know I'm going to get the reaction that I'm looking for if you post it. So that's just a thought.
So
It's a random thought.
Yeah, I think that many people feel like it only happens to me, but it happens to everyone because it just depends when
but
you
there
send
are
it.
there
Because
are
in
certain
fact,
people.
I have to say, I was talking about myself, how that specific situation happened to me several times already. Okay.
Okay.
And I've had to go back and screenshot receipts to prove to people way back here, I sent this to you. And you were like, oh, wow, amazing, right? It was just like even recently, I was talking with Leah about a show that was kind of like Traders. It looked similar. I had sent her the trailer. And I said, hey, have you gotten a chance to check it out? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is this? And I was like, remember when I sent it to you and we discussed it and you said it looked good and all stuff? She has no memory of it whatsoever, even though she can read her stuff on there and she can see that that's happened. But it happens to everyone. And it's funny because sometimes we get like this private message. Like my brother will do this, right? Well, he'll send a private message and he'll say,
Can you move the mic to this side just a little bit? Because you're speaking past it.
which side?
Just to like, yeah, just a little bit. Because you're speaking, you did this. So you're just speaking just past it. I'm hearing you, but it's not the same as if you're talking at it.
Interesting. I didn't know that we were having restrictions again with the microphone.
There's no restrictions. But if you're past the mic,
Yeah.
it's not going to catch.
Interesting. Sorry.
Remember where the words are? That's where the input is.
Okay. I feel like it's too close to me, honestly.
You can put it further if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to jump in and say something?
No.
Okay.
Keep going.
No, I don't know what I was saying anymore.
You were talking about that you had a specific situation that happened just to you.
Mm-hmm.
That you put something.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing?
I feel like I already said all that part. That's not where I was.
Da, 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 da. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The microphone was definitely more important.
Oh my goodness.
So
I'm gonna try and reel myself in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I do feel like I am interrupting you.
Yes, but it's to no avail now.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Maybe we can still save it. Let's go back to the beginning and sort of retrace our steps.
Okay.
So
Well, that's the last thing you were just saying. We were talking about that.
I think what you were trying to say with the whole gift thing is because when you said we celebrate birthday year, I think what you meant by that.
No, but you clarified that.
Yeah.
You clarified that. We're celebrating life.
Right. So by that, I meant all of the holidays. You know?
Right.
It's just like Christmas, birthday, anniversary, all wrapped into one. Here you go. Whatever's closest that's coming up, then we will say, oh, this is, it's an early birthday gift in January,
Yeah, but I don't think the birthday gifts count for that because I've gotten you some stuff, and then you've overdone it with me this year.
Why?
And my birthday's not till the end of the month.
But why? Why do you feel like I've overdone it?
Bro, how many of the Roosevelt shirts have you gotten me?
Why do you call it Roosevelt?
That's what its name. That's what the name is. I looked it up. Okay. So I had to look it up.
Okay.
Because
the website is rsvlt.com.
LTS.
LTS.
Yes. So I was like Roosevelt's. I couldn't figure out what it was, so I went and I looked it up. The name of the company is Roosevelt's.
Okay.
And the RSVLTS
It's just everything
is
without
just them.
vowels.
Yeah, without vowels. So it's Roosevelt's.
I don't know if that's actually true.
Look at
That
their
it's
website.
without vowel. No, I'm
Oh,
saying
right.
that it's without vowels. I'm just deducing that that's what's missing from that. So maybe there's
It
another
is.
letter.
All the vowels are out.
Interesting.
You deduced that like
Fast in my brain.
right there.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
I love this. Okay. We did an escape room this past weekend because today we were not going to be able to see the kids, and we went last weekend. Worked out best for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? Since they drive for Uber, today is, I don't know if today necessarily is going to be a good day for delivery, because a lot of moms are going to be taken out to have
Yeah, lunch.
dinner or breakfast. Oh, but maybe they went out to breakfast and it's like dad's ordering dinner. Dad's in charge of dinner today.
I hope so.
And you remember all the years that you would say, I got dinner, babe, don't worry. And then you'd order something in. And
Not on Mother's Day.
No, not on Mother's Day. I'm just saying, and just randomly, you'd be like, I got dinner today.
I
Okay.
cooked dinner.
And then, yeah, you would. And in my mind, internally, I would think, I wish I could do the same. Like one day, just swing by and say, I'm picking up dinner. And that's what dinner is going to be.
Why not?
Because only dads apparently could do that.
No.
That's what
Okay,
it was.
to be fair, I could go pick up dinner because I had a car. We only had one vehicle. You were at home. Mm-hmm. And DoorDash and all this other stuff was non-existent.
Not that we could have afforded it either.
I know. We're like, can we get pizza? Just, I don't know, like 4 slices. Can I get
Little
a half
Caesars
price?
was a great,
Little Caesars took us out of a jam a lot.
many times.
Well, when it was $5. Did I tell you what happened
What?
the other day? So my guys wanted pizza, right? So whenever we,
Oh, something so heavy to eat while you're working in the sun.
so sometimes they love it. I don't know. Sometimes they just want it.
I mean,
Anyways.
it's filling, but
So
I feel like it makes you want a nap after.
sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But so they wanted pizza, and it's been a long time because so we have a lunch lady, one of those like mobile food carts, and she comes to wherever we're at, and that's what the guys get for food. But for some reason, they got together like, well, can we get pizza today? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so I go to Little Caesars, and I usually just buy 5 pizzas or whatever and bring it back, and I'll get a couple 2 liters and whatever, and they can, that way they can have some Coke or Pepsi with their food. And I show up, the $5 Little Caesars pizza is non-existent anymore.
Well, how could it be?
I know,
You
but
can't keep a $5 pizza throughout all the up and down of the economy
I know, but even after,
and
like,
not have them take a hit.
I know, but what I'm saying is the last time that I went in to buy it was their $5 pizzas.
So what is it now? $9?
It's like $7.99 for cheese and $8.49 for pepperoni. So what I ended up doing, I ended up getting the lunch combo, which is $6, and it's like a small personal with a Pepsi, but it's the deep crust one. So the small personal is
So
more
they're
than
filling
more
you
than
up with
enough.
bread.
Pretty much. Anyways, so yeah, Little Caesars took us out of a jam, and nowadays I guess it's still taking people out of a jam because you order pizza and it's $20 for $20 something for a large pizza. So you need $50 or $60 just to eat out.
So because the kids drive for Uber, and today may or may not be a good day for delivery. Either way, we didn't want to take up that time for them. So plus, Mike with his job, they're probably, I think they're open every single day.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
So I feel like it's easier for them when they request time from days that are just regular days rather than on holidays. So we went to see them last weekend, and we had two new experiences. I know that individually we have experienced an escape room, but we've never done one as a family.
Right. Have you
And
done one?
yeah,
You did one?
I did one, but I
When?
did one by myself with other people.
I don't remember.
It was
that.
a team building
I
exercise.
remember that.
Yeah, team building.
Yeah.
So it was
Team-
wonderful. I'm sorry. I pretty much just
You're centered?
Yes.
Okay. You kicked it.
I'm good. Just it was a light tap.
It moved.
Not like the earthquake that happened in a very large area north of us.
Yes.
So, which is very unusual. Just wanted to throw that out there. So we went to an escape room, and I chose because I made all the plans for the family, a Greek mythology inspired escape room. And I don't know if you fall into this category, but myself and the kids are huge into Greek mythology. Huge. Like it's a passion that we all share, right? And we talk about it. Nikki's her Discord group and everything is Mount Olympus. She's designed a logo for it. I mean, it's all this stuff. She even has like a tattoo of one of them. I don't even want to say who it is because I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's some goddess of revenge.
Which one?
The one that she has on her card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she'll correct us here in a minute. But anyway, the escape room was called At Odds with the Gods. And I felt like we would have an upper hand because for the most part, we knew what all the gods and goddesses, what their roles are or what they are, if it's of the sea or of thunder, we would know names, and legends and stories of them, and that knowledge perhaps would come into play, right? So I wasn't sure what to expect because it was a very different escape room than the one that I had experienced, right? I don't know if it was the same because you had gone with the kids on a different occasion.
I don't remember the escape room
being like that.
I don't remember what the theme was.
Oh, okay.
It may not have been a theme. It may have just been a room.
So, it's in a place in Orlando that's touted to be one of the top notch in the country as an escape room. It's called the Escape Effect if anybody wants to look it up. And it was a 90-minute experience. That's how, and I thought, hey, that's a great amount of time. I doubt that someone's going to be in there 20 minutes and get out and feel like they were cheated, right? No. If they give you 90 minutes, it's probably because it takes just about 90 minutes for you to get through everything. So be quick. Don't lollygag and feel like that, right? So, of course, myself, I have to have a plan going into something like this because I'm very competitive. So I want our team to be the best. And there was no individual play here. We all have to work as a team together. So I was trying to get people what are the roles? What are we going to do as soon as we get in there? Who's in charge of this? And everybody but me was we just see it when we get in there. We'll decide when we get in there. And I was like, oh no, I'm not liking the vibe I'm having here, right?
Oh, hold on. Looking back at it, already going through it, was that the right attitude though?
To decide when you get in there? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it could have worked either way. If everybody would have been hyped about, okay, I'm going to go lift up everything and see that there's nothing underneath, or I'm going to go look in all the drawers, or I'm going to go look for a puzzle, or, I'm the one who's going to stand back and look around the room. I don't know. I think we would have gone in there and done that and quickly realized we've got nothing. Okay. So either way, it almost It almost was good that we didn't have a plan. So when we walk in there and they close the door behind us, they say, we're going to play a video. And then after the video, your timer is going to start. I wanted to pay attention to the video because I'm thinking they're going to
There's gonna
drop
be
some
rules.
clues. No, not rules. I don't care about that. Clues. There were going to be clues, right? But at the same time, I'm looking around the room, right? What's going on? What do I see? And all that stuff. Because I had assigned myself a role. Okay. Everyone else is just like following the rules. Let's look at the TV. Nobody's looking around. But secondly, I am concealing how disappointed I feel standing in that room, because the room is, I'm going to
Half
say,
the size.
no. I mean, this one is a wider room. That was a more narrow room, but I would say it was the same size if we made it more narrow.
Okay.
Let's say we make it a little more narrow. And this room, it's a bedroom that was turned into a library. So just imagine a regular size bedroom. And I'm thinking, it wasn't a cheap experience, right? And we're here for 90 minutes trying to figure something out in this room. I was just like, you know what? I need to be like hip, hip, hooray. So everyone will be excited.
When you look around the room, there's locks on stuff. There's one random puzzle piece, puzzle piece.
Okay, I was going to say possum. Say possum.
One
Possum.
random possum.
There you go. It clears the palate like smelling coffee beans. Now say what you were trying to say.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
Do it now. See how you're able to do it.
Random puzzle. Of course I'm going to be able to say it now because I just worked it through in my brain.
Let's see it.
Random puzzle piece sitting on top of, you want the credit? You got it. Just like random, like nothings, right? There's a little tablet with a chalk on it sitting
which
in the corner.
I thought was such a nice touch because it wasn't just your regular, it wasn't a regular chalkboard tablet. It was a stone.
Like a broken stone with a...
Yes, with a chalk that didn't even look like chalk, but everything in it was, I thought, thoughtful, very intentional, and you're trying to figure out, what does anything mean? Immediately, the next thought that I had in my mind, Nikki and I have always talked about going on The Amazing Race, and they do a lot of puzzles, right? And we've watched how people get frustrated while trying to solve the puzzle because they get blocked. You're just thinking linear instead of like everything is possible, right? And immediately I'm looking at, they had explained to us first that there were locks where you would spell things with the lock, or locks that you had to push and they would open.
Everything would be a word. It wouldn't be just random letters.
Right. It would, if it had letters, it would be a word. If it was numbers, like everything had a solution, I guess it was, right? And it was not going to be 4 numbers on a 5 number thing, right? It was going to be exact, right? So you're looking around and there really isn't much to go on, right? There was a circle, like a table where the 2-3 puzzle pieces were in that didn't make anything.
Well, it was at the beginning, it was just one.
Okay, just one. But there was a puzzle piece on there. There was an inscription on it, right? That didn't really make sense, but I'm thinking nothing that's here is here randomly, right? And right at the bottom of the table, it was inscribed Hestia. Everywhere else, there were pictures of the gods or the goddesses with their name right on top. This one was just at the bottom of the table, right? So the boys, it was funny because the boys went together, the girls came together, which I think is the way we would have wanted it to be anyway. Our brains work differently like that. And
for the beginning, it needed to be that way because you and Nikki think alike, and that's why you guys automatically got together.
Right.
And Mike and I think alike, so we automatically got together.
And it would have been a failed strategy. This is what we were going to learn later on, right? It's just that we went with what we knew and the person that we would work with the best. And right away, like Nikki and I would go to everything together, right? And we would go and explore everything together. And there were Roman numerals on a door, right? That
I thought it
it
was a
se-
closet.
okay, so to me it was just a combination, maybe some shelves behind it, whatever. I didn't know. But a pattern, the number, what goes where, what are we looking for? I had no idea. And so I stopped at that moment and I said, this is what they must feel like on The Amazing Race when they are trying to figure out the puzzle and you don't even have a straw. Where do I start?
Well, it took us.
Where do I start, right?
It took us what, 25 minutes?
I don't even know if it was that long. It felt a lot faster, honestly.
Yeah. Well, right. The first before we figured, well, before you guys figured something out because
Right.
it was you and Nikki.
I know.
So
I
before
was
before anything at all was like moving in the right direction. Well, moving. Period. Because there was no moving in any direction. It took us like 25 minutes.
wow.
Where
It's
we
funny
really had to
because-
take in the room. The thing is, there was so much
Well,
in
but
that
you
room
say
when
that.
you start exploring.
Right, but when you say that, it sounds like it was a crowded room, but it was actually a fairly empty room.
Yes.
Which is the part that initially disappointed me. Not only is it a tiny room, it's a fairly empty room with some Greek decor and all that stuff, but nothing major. Not that you're searching through stuff. And they had already said the room is painted in a way that nothing above the paint is going to be for
Right.
you
It
to
had
be
like
reaching
a,
out
like,
to.
just like a gray
You
top
know,
piece.
you don't need to try to reach anything up high. We're not trying to hide anything in there. And don't lift up anything heavy. There's nothing underneath. Don't lift it up, right?
Right.
So I feel like initially that's what we went to do. We tried all the doors, we checked out all the locks, we tried to lift things, and then all of a sudden you're just left with what's in the room and you've no idea where to start. So I was fixated on that table and I kept reading it and trying to figure out, like, who are they talking about? Is this one person? Is this multiple people? And I just kept reading it, unable to really see anything in the room that tied to it, right? And there was a part that talked about sacred as the peacock, right? And Nikki, at that point, she was like, wait. She's like, look at the flowers. And there were flowers around a mirror that were different colors. And she goes to the bottom. I don't even know where that lock was, okay? Because I don't feel like I had seen it. And she says, start telling me how many of each color there is. She figured that out, right? And all of a sudden, we're going somewhere.
Well,
we
okay,
open a
so,
drawer.
Yeah, that drawer gets opened, and
The domino effect starts.
then it had a couple. I think it was
a
puzzle
couple
pieces
puzzle pieces and some squares.
and some squares.
Oh, and it had the tablet with the Roman numerals on it.
Oh yes, the one that's okay. So then
Which,
that
can I just put as a little side note? I had to stare at that for a long while to try to figure out what they were trying to tell us until I realized that the tablet only had the translation of the Roman numeral, what it was. Because people nowadays, they don't know
no.
what it is. So that's all it was. And then you have to figure out the code.
Yeah, and what so at that point we started to really start to separate what we were working on because again, we had just been going around in circles.
I feel like you two wanted to figure out that door.
Well, the door was the one that was like screaming at us, and I figured there's stuff in there that's
That
going
we
to help
need.
us open up the stuff that's in here. So that's Mike and I. We that's where we got fixated on, and we just kept on working through that and going back and going back and you guys just kept on roaming and roaming and roaming. And then all of a sudden, I hear click, click, click. You guys opened up another. And now I'm there with Mike, and we've now finally got all the numbers. And that one had a lock that was like push pin, like in, out, in, out, in, out. So we're trying to figure out the pattern. And then all of a sudden, Nikki comes over and she's like, here, there's these blocks. And then these blocks now, they go into the wall.
And I just want to give her credit for this because the next thing that was opened was because she took a step back and she saw that there was a whip on the wall and a shield on the wall and some other piece on the wall that they were all numbers. It was 4 numbers that when you see that, it looks like armaments just hanging on the wall until you're able to see it as a whole picture, which I had gone to those things and touched them to see if there was, I'm
Yeah,
looking
if
for a
there's anything in there.
scroll, I'm looking for something, but I hadn't seen it as a whole. And she saw that, and that's when things really got moving.
I asked the lady for the
attendant?
the attendant. I asked her afterwards, about the room and how people go through the room and whatnot. And she told me that the majority of the adults that go into that room ask for a clue because
That was
they get
the
stuck.
only rule that you made.
Yeah.
When I was saying, hey, what are we going to do? You said, we
No,
are
yeah.
not asking for hints.
No hints.
0 hints. And the thing is, our entire family, I feel, has such a competitive spirit that the kids were like, absolutely, we're going down with the ship.
Yeah, it wasn't like
It got it.
I started
It started feeling intense.
I started regretting it a little bit. But she told me that wall is missed by the adults. The
Interesting.
kids get it immediately.
And mind you that she's an adult too, but
Yes. No, but I'm saying it took us a while though.
Yeah.
It was over half an hour before we finally before we got the number on the wall.
And I
But
feel that at that point, this is where people were starting to separate into what they were good at. Okay, instead of, because she had like pulled away from me to look at things while I was still feeling like if we got one clue off of this table, there has to be another clue in this table, and I was doing something else, she was doing that. So the moment that started happening is where I feel like we all started moving, because now everyone was bringing their own individual thing to the
strength.
table.
Yeah, the strength.
Exactly, right? And then all of a sudden you and Mike figured out
The door.
pattern to the door.
Yeah. But-
And then
all of a sudden it was all hell broke loose.
all hell broke loose.
Because there are now, so you go into this other room.
It's
There's-
another room. It's not a
there's-
closet.
yeah, there's an armoire, and then there's like this like door thing on one side, and then there's a cage on the other. So
And there's like things on the floor,
there's
like
markings on the
patterns
floor.
and arrows.
Now hold on. Now I have to jump in. So once we got into that room, and
My disappointment was gone at that point, by the way, because now I realized.
well, the disappointment for me had already moved on because
Oh, you felt disappointed too?
oh yeah,
Oh,
but for
yeah?
a different reason.
For what?
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Wait, careful with Alan.
No, Alan he's buckled in, baby.
Is he?
He's
Good
not,
job.
He's not going anywhere. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
I was disappointed because everyone was figuring shit out. Sorry. Everybody was figuring stuff out. And I felt like, have you seen the videos of the guy who's like helping in the construction and they're like bringing down stuff and he's like,
Like his
and-
arms
yeah,
never
and
actually hold anything,
never
right?
do anything?
Yeah.
That was me.
Oh, really?
I was
Your
like-
ego was...
Bro, I was hurt. I was butt hurt, bro.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, bro, I'm useless. There's
thing
nothing.
is-
There's nothing here that I am. And I helped with the door.
And
but
it's interesting. It's interesting that you felt that way, because when I walked into that room, I walked in feeling like you were like our star player, right? Because you have like
Well,
the math
I
and
felt
the,
like-
the logic and the unscrambling. I feel like I'm more analytical, so for me it takes me longer to figure something out, but I will figure it out, and I'll see things in a different way. But I had even said another rule that we had said was that you had to listen to everyone's suggestion. You couldn't just bulldoze your way through the thing, right? Because you're so good at puzzles, right? That I felt like you had a possibility of dominating and not letting anyone else do their part. So it's funny that you got humbled that way.
No,
right off
was,
the start.
It was bad. So when I finally got
The door.
I figured the door, right? So I figured out the pattern for that lock. And I was like, hell
Let's
yeah,
go.
let's go.
Let's go.
I was like, okay, I got it. So then I walk into that room, and then there's nothing in the room.
Right, except those things that we
Except
said.
those little things. And I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. Now it's like we're starting over. Because at least we had movement in the other room. And now there's got to be movement over here. And then...
well, so then all of a sudden, I'm like sensory.
Hold on,
like
wait, hold on.
Oh, okay.
So like in some like old movie, like horror movie or whodunit movie, the way I saw it was I look over and I see your hand just kind of lean on the wall, and all of a sudden swing. Here comes a door, and I'm like, what in the world? She found a door.
It was a secret door.
Yeah, it was a secret door with a secret lock that opens it, whatever.
And it was me. That was too simple. Like that clue.
Hold on. I talked to the lady.
Oh.
Afterwards.
Okay.
She said that is where most people fail.
That's impossible.
Yeah. She said nobody thinks to slide the little circle over. Because the amount of movement that the slide has, you don't think that there's enough there for anything to happen. She says that they've had people take it and they slide it, and never think to slide and push. They just slide it thinking that something's going to unlatch and move. But the door is put in such a way that you can unlock it and the door doesn't move. So it gives the illusion of, okay, did I open something else somewhere else? And she says that a lot of times they'll slide it over and then go around the room, start looking for something else instead of pushing the door.
Something that fell or something that opened.
Instead of pushing that door open.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So she was telling me.
And that takes us to another room.
Yeah. So now there's another room in there.
And Mike got super excited at that point.
But at the same time, Mike figured out.
Oh my God, that was so epic.
A trident that was sitting up in a corner. He looks inside the cage room.
It's like a prison in there.
It's like Poseidon pointing with his trident towards a bag in a corner, and he's like, the trident, and he sticks it through the door.
That was so epic.
So at that point, all of a sudden, stuff just starts to unravel.
Yes.
And this is where a
lot of things were happening at the same time.
This is where I thought it was really super cool, because you're in one room doing one thing, I'm in another room doing another, Mike is over here, Nikki's over there, and we're like shooting and shouting and screaming and sending stuff back this way, and we're running into one room, out the other room.
Which, by the way, if I were to recommend any escape room to anyone, it would be that type of room. I was talking to a coworker who said she does a lot of escape rooms, and she said there's some rooms in which the whole thing needs to be figured out in this room, and then you move on to the next room. And then it's that room. But the fact that it's all connected, and this piece over here has another piece over there.
Yeah, so there wasn't one room that could be completely figured out unless you opened up another room. And what's cool about this part of it was, so now there are like 5 different puzzles going on all at the same time. So there's a pattern puzzle. There's the
wire puzzle and
reading of the map puzzle.
That was Mike doing that with me.
A weight puzzle. There's a puzzle. There's a sundial puzzle. Like there was all this stuff that was going on all at the same time, and I deciphered what was inside the little bag after Mike was able to pull the bag, because it was just a straight up number pattern thing. It was like a triangle, so it started off with one number at the top, and then it broke down, and then all the numbers added up, so it was just a math problem. And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured that out almost immediately. And then that opened up to give me the sundials. And then the sundials is another pattern. That's all it is. There's nothing else with it. It was just a pattern. And I immediately was able to put that together, but then I had no idea what to do with the sundial. And then Mike's like, this is on the floor. And then he's like, line it up. And we started lining it up, but he had done the puzzle backwards because he thought, oh, where we enter the room, that's where it starts. But I was like, no, hold on. On the scroll that was inside the bag, it said start
It was about south or west, something like
start
that.
here. So then we went back and we started it in a completely random space, and it spelled out a word. And then at that point, while we were figuring out one thing in this room, we were hearing in the other room that you guys were figuring something out. And then Nikki was opening up another lock, and then she'd come in with a new piece, and then we'd come out with a skull, and we'd come out with some coins.
Let me say that the skull. So there was the quote about the ferryman, how you have to put the 2 coins, you know, to pass. And then it mentioned Hades, which we knew Hades had to be part of this somehow, right? But we hadn't yet gotten to it. And then there was the skull that had black markings all over it and 2 coins that would fit perfectly over its eyes that also had black markings. So at first, before we had the skull, we were trying to see, are there any faces in which the coins could go? Are there any places that we can put them? Do they make something? Can you put them on something? Because we knew they had to either spell something or create an image or something. And then once you put them in the skull, you were able to see a number, which that number gave you open up
something
this
else.
Other
and then,
thing.
Yeah.
And then we get to the grand finale, which was the big puzzle.
Board, yeah.
And I want to explain. It was an armoire in which the middle of it had some magnetic thing to it.
It was
and
a
there
bunch
was
of random letters
and lightning bolts. Now, the doors, when they swung open, these are made out of wood, panels, right? So like, let's say 4 panels to make a door. And they look exactly like the inside. Letters, numbers, and lightning bolts at different places, right? So at that point, you had figured out that this puzzle, because of some straps that were in there that were in the shape of a Z, in the shape of an L, in odd shapes and all that stuff, you were going to put it in such a pattern that it was going to spell out another clue.
Another name, right.
Right? Or something, right?
A name of a god.
Well, but that's somehow we had figured out that it said
because there was one up there when we opened it.
Right.
And it was covering Zeus.
Right. But there was something that we read that said how we solved that was we had to list all the gods and goddesses that had been mentioned.
No, that's actually that's the puzzle. Because remember, so the straps, it had one strap that covered Zeus, and then the lightning bolt was sitting straight up. And from that I got, okay, it has to spell, and the lightning bolt has to be sitting up.
Up on the thing.
All of a sudden we laid down all the straps and we start putting all the straps up. And
start giving me names. That's what you said. Start giving me names.
And then everyone started looking for names that were around the room, and we started to finally pop them in there. And once we got to a point, I realized that it said,
like, which one is missing?
Which one is missing? Or it was something like that.
Something like that. And we knew.
Name the god that's missing, I think.
Interestingly, before we had even gotten there, I had gotten to another big armoire that was in that room. And I had just come out of reading about the ferryman and Hades and all that stuff. And I thought, it's letters. It's 5 letters. Let me put in Hades. Just, even though there's nothing pointing me to this, let me just try. And it didn't open, right? But I had left it already spelled out. Hades, right? I moved on to something else because that was that. So the moment we read that clue and it said which one is missing, the only thing that we have not yet opened is that thing,
the
right?
armoire.
And you and Mike had already run by and said, is it that simple?
It can't be that simple. We had put it in and the lock wasn't opening.
Right.
And then we were reading the clue back and forth.
So then it's like, wait, it is Hades, but why isn't it opening? And it was a double lock.
Yeah. So at this point, there's like 13 minutes left on the clock.
Actually, it was a lot less.
Well, no, when we started that.
Oh, when we started
So
that.
it was
Okay.
it was like 13 minutes, 13 or 14 minutes, and then
And
I'm
I'm-
working over there,
yeah.
and you and Nikki, for some reason, stay on that board.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I'm like, they're wasting their time. Come over. We need to figure this out. At this point, the only thing that's left, because the room with the sundial, that's done. There's nothing else in there to figure out. The room with the map, that's completely done. There's nothing left. Oh, we forgot the grapes.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
There's
things
so
that
much
we
stuff.
didn't talk about.
But there's like that room is done. The only lock that are left in the entire thing is inside this armoire.
It's inside
right?
that thing.
And because I am the way I am, I pulled on it and I'm looking inside and I can see the goblet that we're supposed to get.
There's
is
something in
there.
there.
It's
and there's
the
like
light
burning
is
fire
on. Yeah.
and something
so
inside.
I'm like, this is it. We just need to figure this out. I'm like,
and I remember
keep
hearing
looking
you
back.
say, like, oh, this thing is broken. You know, like, this is the answer, and here we are.
Yeah.
And it was the answer.
Because the thing
But-
is, it fit. So you're still were able to spell Hades on it,
Right.
And it just would not work,
Right. So when you had initially first started putting the magnetics on the board, me and Mike were taking a step back because you and Nikki were like really like intensely involved in that. So he and I had taken a step back to just observe, right? And I'm thinking, let me think, right? And I had told Mike, it's weird that these doors have the same stuff in them and we're not using them, right? You don't think that it means anything? And he was like, nope. So it continued doing that, right? So, of course, to me, when I get fixated on something, I can't move on from it, right?
Right.
So while you're over there figuring that out, and Nikki is like, peeling back to see maybe it's the stuff behind the little lightning bolts and all that stuff. And I was like, Nick, these doors, they have to mean something, right? And as she is looking between this and this, right? She's like, grab something to write on. And I was like, okay, she's got something. Okay, I'm
hold
all
on.
for
Can
it.
I give you the outside of this?
Okay.
So Mike and I are fighting at the door. I'm about to take a hammer to it. I'm like, I'm gonna take my shoe off and slam the stupid locks. Like they're stuck. And I look back, and you're like, and I'm like, so stupid. Why are they wasting the time?
Which by now, it's
Okay.
like 3
but,
minutes.
yeah, there's 3 minutes left. Mike looks at me. He's like, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "I think we need to ask for a hint. Let's wait till it gets down like to the last little minute, and we can just pull it." And
all
of a sudden, I hear from the other room. What was it? You had said what was the phrase?
Well,
that it said?
because as
It
she's
said,
giving me
scramble
letters,
the words or
Yes.
or whatever.
yeah, you
So
have to scramble the name.
Scramble the name.
to
And you're like,
escape.
scramble the name. And all of a sudden, we go back. And because
And now it's all
because
four of us
all
right
four
there,
of us are standing
huddled.
there. And we're looking at the locks. And Mike and I are completely fixated on the bottom lock. And we figure that one out and it pops open. And then we're like, oh, maybe this one needs to be open before the top one. And the top one, we put it back on Hades. And we're like, cling, 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 cling. And it's not working. And you're like, scramble that one too. And we were looking at it and looking at it. Heeds, houds, hoods. We're like, we could not figure it out. Mike figured out the S has to be at the end. Because we were
Yes.
like trying to put shade or,
And shade was one.
Shade was the bottom.
bottom one.
right? And we were trying to figure out, we're like, there's no S anywhere but at the end, so it has to be at the end. So now we only needed to figure out the first 4 letters.
And it
And
was
all of
heads.
a sudden, you're like, heads! And we hurry up. Mike puts it in.
There's 52 seconds
Yeah.
left.
We pull it, okay? And we start jumping
Yeah, like we
around,
won
Like we
already.
won. And Mike's like, the code! Because you have to put a code in at the door. He's like, the code. And all of a sudden, we're like brought back into reality.
There's 3
seconds.
urns.
There's seconds left. We're running.
There's
the
3
urns
urns.
with
Everybody
numbers.
grabbed them. No, they had shapes and numbers.
Well, the
and
shapes
from
was
the
cut-
very
were cut out at the
beginning,
bottom.
we had seen that there were just these weird shapes just at the bottom
Mm-hmm.
of something that we were like, it means something, but we don't know what. They sat perfectly on it, and it gave you the code that you needed.
Yeah. And we put the code in with like seconds left. And then the lady comes in from the, as soon as we put the code in and it's like starts beeping or whatever because we won, the lady opens the door. And I don't know if you felt this, but it was the most anticlimactic.
I know.
She's like,
I wonder, did she
congratulations.
Do you have any questions
She was
for me?
It was Roz from Monsters Inc. Congratulations. You beat the odds to the gods. I was like, bro.
And then,
Like,
we had named our group before going in there, the Mortal Peasants.
Mortal
And
Peasants.
it's funny because in the video, it said, will you just be a mortal peasant
Yeah.
or will you be an immortal?
yeah, it was so good. We had such a blast. And
So amazing.
I'm sure you say it because I don't want to take that from you. What Nikki said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So afterwards, of course, we can't stop talking about it. And I'm so happy that it came from Nikki, like from our kids to see that, right? But she said that the thing that had really stood out to her the most was how none of us could have solved that whole thing without having the help of everyone else. Everyone played an integral role in solving that room.
Yeah, there was
for the
no
person
way.
who came in feeling like I have nothing to contribute,
Well,
and me who was feeling like I can't think at all, right?
Looking back at it, the first couple puzzles were out of my wheelhouse. That's not the way I think. So this is where you guys were able to get to that spot to be able to allow, because there was a spot there where I figured out 4 puzzles in a row before anyone else figured anything else out because they were mathematically heavy. So it was like,
And for
boom,
me, like,
boom,
I feel like
boom,
I
boom.
gave, honestly, aside from opening up that secret room, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I didn't think about what it was to solve that puzzle. I just gave for example, Nikki's the one who figured out what letters to give me. I
Right,
didn't know
you
what letters I
figured-
was looking for.
You figured out how to.
No, I feel like she figured out how to. I just figured out there's something here we need to
Right,
figure out.
you figured out that there was something there that needed to be
Right.
figured out in a certain way, and then
And
what
then
you
the
did was you
unscrambling.
pushed us towards figuring
That's
it
it,
out.
right? So that to me, that's
But that's
it's small,
you
but it's
thinking-
a big thing.
It is a big thing because you thought outside the box.
Right.
We figured out the pattern after the pattern was shown to us, but we missed the pattern.
And yet,
And
I don't know
everybody,
that I would have been able to figure out the pattern of the door.
Yeah, but everybody contributed exactly what they needed to contribute.
What they needed to, and it was just
Because Mike figured out puzzles, you figured out puzzles, Nikki figured out puzzles, I figured out puzzles.
What she was saying was that how many families can say each member of our family complements the family perfectly?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have like, oh, these two are exactly the same. No, everyone brought something different, and it was just such a unifying experience for us. And I was telling everybody afterwards, like, I walked in there fully believing we were going to make it out. Like, I had no doubt in our ability.
No, I walked in there, before going in there, I walked in there thinking, 90 minutes? Bro, we'll be done in 45. I'm like, we're going to knock this thing out.
Doesn't tell time very well.
I was like, we're going to figure this thing out in no time at all. And when that clock was ticking down, and then the fire lamps would change color, they were getting darker and darker and darker as the clock was getting less and less and less. It was
Well,
it was
let
so
me
cool.
tell you, and I don't feel like we ever let up at all. No one took a break. Someone was always working.
And the 90 minutes did not feel like 90 minutes.
Not at all.
They went by so fast.
It was so intense. So we found out that this was a 7 out of 10 in hard. So now we know that there's a 10 out of
there's
10.
an 8 out of 10. There's two 7 out of 7 out of 10s. So it was that one and the Sherlock Holmes one. Was 7 out of 10.
Then there's the
And then
8
the
out of
8
10.
out of 10, which was the...
I want to say the 8 out of 10 is the Sherlock Holmes one, and the other 7 was a scary one that they have.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
And
the
then-
Sherlock Holmes was 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then
A
the
medieval
medieval
castle.
one was 10 out of 10.
Right. And that one they're saying is so difficult.
Isn't the scary one 10 out of 10?
No, it wasn't the scary one. Because they put you in 2 separate rooms.
Yeah.
So you've got one room that's in complete darkness and another room that has light. So we were talking about, obviously we have to challenge ourselves and do the 10 out of 10, right?
And that's a 2-hour.
That's a 2-hour one, right? And if they give you the 2 hours, because you need the 2 hours, okay? And we were talking about how it'll be very interesting. How do we pair ourselves, right? Because naturally, Nikki and I would want to go together, right? We work well together. We think the same. But what this taught us is that we need the opposite to be with us. And yet she was saying, Mom, even though we think the same, you push things that I wouldn't be thinking, right?
And then we immediately thought, well, okay, so then Mike and Nick will go together and you and I will go together. And then Nikki jumped in and said, no, I would need to go with Dad and you need to go with Mike, because that's the complement that would allow for us to move through. So I'm excited to go back and try out the other room. Are we gonna go 10? Go to the 10 for 10?
I don't know. Should we?
I say we do.
Should we? Because I was thinking about doing
Shoot for the
8.
stars.
I mean, that's gonna humble us.
Shoot for the
See,
stars.
this one, I feel like I would be walking into it not so sure anymore.
Yeah, but now we're
gonna
going
make it
in.
out.
Now we're going in with a little bit more of an idea of
Yeah.
of the room. So I think we'll be able to move
I think we'll be able to speak to each other because we were hearing
they were shouting
people
through the doors.
exactly. So it's going to be definitely a test of communication, because
Mm-hmm.
if I need you to figure out a math problem, let's say, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be very detailed and everything, and it's going to, I think it's
Yeah.
going to be
It'll be
exciting.
fun.
And if it beats us, then that just means we have to go again.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, well, if we go again, then we'll be able to move through it a little bit quicker.
Oh my gosh.
At least the first part of it.
Such a fun thing.
It was such a blast. Such a blast.
But anyway, we did that to celebrate Mother's Day and my birthday with the kids, mostly because I wanted to do that. The kids are just like along for the ride. We tell them, oh, we're taking you to Cirque du Soleil. And they're like, okay, we're taking you to escape room. Okay, whatever. They just want to be with us. And this week you had a small accident at work, right? This past week before we went. And I was thinking we weren't going to go anymore, because there had been like a small little tear in your muscle and you were on crutches. And then everybody at work has been asking me, how you doing? And I was like, if you knew the level of stubbornness that this man has, you know that something much, much bigger needs to come take this man down, because at the end of the first day, you decided, I'm not doing the crutches anymore.
I couldn't anymore.
I'm not doing the crutches anymore. And I was like,
it was horrible.
I had to keep telling myself, I'm not your mother. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to mother you. You decide for yourself.
Okay.
You decide for yourself. It.
Can we discuss the crutches? Because the crutches, it's the most unnatural thing. I don't know how people do it.
For extended periods.
Listen, if I was missing a leg...
Did you see yesterday when we were at the stadium how there was someone coming down the stairs in crutches? How?
If I had... What was I saying? Oh, if I was missing a leg and I had to learn, how to walk, they're using a different type of crutch. They're using one that your arm goes into. There's more support. It's not underneath your arms. It's all in your forearms. That's different. But this thing digging into my arm, I started feeling my shoulder was hurting, and I was like, and I'm like, I barely even used it. I'm not doing this because I'm going to end up screwing myself
in
a much
other
different
ways.
way. And I was like, forget it. I'm like, I'll just go slow. I'll go slow. So I was like shuffling around the
That
house.
same, I want to say that it was that same night. Was it that same night that all of a sudden you went and you started doing dishes? And I was like, why are you doing the kitchen? What are you doing? And you were like, leave me be. This is for me. I need to do this. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm not your mother.
Well, when
Okay.
I went to work, when I went
Okay.
back, so I took Monday off. So I didn't go to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Well, we
or
were up
Monday.
in Orlando on Friday,
No, 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 no.
Saturday, Sunday. And then you
Oh
took
yeah,
Monday
and then I
off.
took Monday off. And when I took the time off for it, I I was like a little bit stir crazy. I was like, I need to get out of this house. So when I went back to work on Tuesday, I made sure that I was doing something that was not going to be
Heavy or anything.
heavy for work. I was just like supervising my guys and whatever. And then on Wednesday, I jumped on the machine for just a little bit, just to kind of like wet my beak. And then on Thursday, I was like, give me a machine. I'm going to work because I can't do this. And then Friday, I ended up having to take a soft day because I was fixing machines and doing other stuff that
It just worked out for
it
you.
just worked out good.
Yeah, it just
So
worked out.
I was able
But
to,
you,
to
yes,
rest.
yesterday we were at the arena, and we had to go up and down so many
I'm
stairs.
feeling it today, though.
Interesting, because we walked so fast to the point where I forgot that your leg was bothering you because
Well,
when we went
I'm
up,
now at the point where I have.
you're not even walking with a limp
Yeah,
anymore.
there's no more limp. I just have the movement. The muscle's really tight still.
I'm gonna massage your leg when we go sit on the couch
So
because that's been helping you.
It has.
I have like a witch's brew.
something like that. Like there's a certain spot where I have to stop, so I can't get my full stride. Mm-hmm. So it's actually better for you because you can keep up with me because I'm taking shorter.
It's so funny
shorter
because
strides.
you had told me that I was slowing down in front of, or why was I walking behind you, or slowing down in front of you? I was making it more difficult for you or
Yeah.
something. And I was telling you, but this is how I walk always. This is the problem.
Well, you got in front of me, and like I think I kicked your shoes a couple times because
Yeah.
I ran into you, but yeah, I definitely am feeling much better, but
But my point to that was that I didn't know if we were going to be able to go see the kids. And you were like, we're still going. It's a 4-hour drive if you make it straight. Okay.
Right.
And here you are with crutches, which we loaded up to the truck anyway, right? They live on a 3rd floor in an apartment building. And
well, we ended up not even going into their
not
apartment.
even going into the apartment, not because of
They came back. Yeah, they just came back to our hotel.
we had such a fun day. We had an
But
amazing
we
breakfast.
left super early and we were back super late. So and we didn't even get to everything that we had originally planned
because we
just
had
because
adjusted.
just because we were having so much fun on the in between that it ended up just being what it was.
But the kids
it was a
had
good time.
said, we're just happy that you're coming. We're just happy that we get to see you, So we just ended up going to really cool shops, to really cool stores with books, with
No, and
comics,
then
with figurines.
We were so exhausted at the end of it that so we go back to the hotel room just to kind of hang out for a little bit, and everyone just fell asleep wherever we were.
Well,
Mike was part on the bed, Nikki was on the couch.
so they had decided to come in for a little while just to hang out with us, even though it had been a long day. And I went to go shower, and when I came back, the kids were
Yeah, they were
out,
knocked
but
out.
like drooling, knocked out. Okay. So Mike had gotten super comfortable on the bed, and Nikki had, in a very twisted way, fallen asleep on the couch. She wasn't really even covered or anything. So I just tried to make her as comfortable. It's hard as a mom to wake up your kids when you know they're so tired and they're sleeping so good. And we always say this, like, there's no sleep like the sleep that you have when you're at your parent's house or when you're home or something like that. And the kids have told
And
us that.
even though we were in a hotel room,
Right, but we're
it was.
together.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something peaceful about it. And they still had to do like a 20-minute drive home because we were, like 20 minutes away. And Mike worked very early in the morning. So it wasn't even like we could just stay with them, right, and just leave them. And had there been, I was telling Nikki, thank God that there wasn't a bigger space for me to like get in the bed and just be comfortable.
That's where we would have.
He would have, poor thing, slept there and not been home to go to work, and that would have been a bad thing. But I had gone and sort of just snuggled with you at the very, very edge of the bed. Kind of fell asleep because I was exhausted.
Mike flopped himself.
He did flop. He was taking like
Right
two
in the
spaces
center.
right away. And so I had sort of fallen asleep for like 45 minutes. And then when I woke up, I was like, what time is it? And it was already 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was
a
with
perfect
reluctance.
It was a perfect end.
It was with reluctance, that I woke them. And it was, like...
Thank God you did, though.
Thank God, yeah. Because it's hard to even drive back at that time. But at least they had taken like a little nap to just give them enough energy.
And they weren't that far from there. Only 15 or 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah. So we got our time in. It was very full, very rich. I love it when it's like that. When it's just, you can do so much in very little time that you have together. It's great. So it was I feel like I already celebrated my birthday. I feel like I already celebrated that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So we have a full week.
With the kids, I meant.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying for your birthday.
We don't have a full week.
What are you talking about?
We have a long
Thursday.
weekend.
No.
We have a
Listen.
long weekend. And let's talk about the plans.
Let's talk.
Because next week we'll give an update of everything.
So we've got a
Thursday.
magician on Thursday.
Because
A
can I say, just
a
as a little...
comedian magician.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of comedy, but...
Well, that's what he's selling.
I love magic.
That's what he's selling, a comedy magic show.
I love illusions. These people don't want me to be in the front seat. Okay? Because obviously they want the non-believers.
Bro, they want you.
No, they don't.
No, yes they do.
Because look, when we went to the other illusionist,
The guy
he wanted to know.
Bobley.
He wanted to know who believes. That was me. Super tall, yes, me. I believe. And it was like, who is the non-believer? And you're like, I don't believe. You, sir. I was like, damn it. I believe. I'm the one you want. I'll be so wowed. Mike had an age where he got really into magic tricks. And I
just figured out how he figured out my stuff.
No, he didn't. You did not.
I'm 100% sure.
No, listen, and you're going to tell me later. Okay, so listen to this. I feel like we've always...
so dumb right now.
Stop it. And I don't want you to tell me. Don't ruin it for me.
I feel so dumb right now.
Hold on. I'm going to do something a little crazy.
What are you going to do?
Hey, Mike.
Good morning, Mother.
Were your...
Happy Monday.
Oh, thank you, honey. Were your ears burning? Because we were talking about you right now live on the chat.
Oh, you guys need to tell me when you guys are recording.
I know. We normally do. I'm so sorry. But you are live on the chat. Anything you want to say?
Hold it on the other side.
I'm out of work until Tuesday.
Oh, that's not good.
No, apparently okay, so we've had lightning storms over here.
Yeah.
They hit whatever fucking thing was
No.
next.
Hey, yo.
It's a family-friendly
Family-friendly show.
Oh, shit.
No, he keeps going.
Let me mute you.
Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Hold on. The brick building in which I find myself employed was struck by lightning. It has fried our internal server. We got that back, but what happened is our firewall for the cameras, which means anybody who has access to the internet now can access our camera in the store. And the fact that we deal with sensitive medical patient information and products that are still federally regulated, we can't open it. We won't get the part until Tuesday. So.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry you're out of work.
Yeah, it's all right. Unexpected week off.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure that you can find other things to do that are needing your attention. Or just, take the rest. Drive and
No, I gotta drive. It was nice because I already had 2 days off this week, and
Yeah.
slowly, pretty much the rest of my week stopped working.
Yeah.
Like, all right, now time to catch up.
Oh boy. All right, so I'll call you after we're off, but I just wanted you to say hi. Since
Yeah,
you
of
called me, I
course.
didn't want to ignore you since I know it's Mother's Day.
I feel bad now because Dad's gonna need to go in and edit.
Oh no.
Oh no, this is going on.
It's going on. We just have to
Oh,
put
it's
a
just
warning.
live?
It's just live.
No,
Yeah.
We do it live. Okay, I love you.
I love you too. Sorry.
Bye.
Bye, son. Love ya.
Bye. Love you too.
Oh, boy.
That was like. Oh, anyway, what was I saying
Down-
about him?
Yeah, down the hill.
What was I saying about him?
That they were tired, need a rest.
Bro, if there was only a way to,
Bro, I'm-
to go back and to see. Oh, the magic. Mike had this phase where he was
Ow.
into magic. Okay. And we have always supported our kids in any endeavor they want. I remember when Nikki was into building her own little scenes, like I went out and I got her everything that she needed to do that. And when Mike was into stop motion, we got him a little camera and we helped him get a little setup going so he could do his stop motion, And when he was into magic, we got him what he needed to do his magic tricks. And he would sit there and he would be like, okay, I have a magic trick to show you. And I would be like, okay, go, wow me. And then he would do something and I was like, how? And he was like, it's not that good. And I was like, I don't want to know how you did it. I'm so, how did you know that was my card? And he was like, I'll tell you. And I was like, no, I don't want to know. So sometimes he would insist, like, I have to tell you how I did it, right? And I feel like he didn't believe in himself enough.
Well, I think it was that the part of the fun for him was, okay, I got the reaction. Now I want to let them know.
No, because I'm going to say, I probably should not have brought this up now that I think about it, but you were always a much harder critic for him.
Oh God, we're not going there.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was kind of his thing where he was just like, Mom,
Okay,
because
but I
even,
wasn't doing it in a bad way. I was putting some skin on that boy.
kind of the same way that my dad would make me go write my letters, my misspelled words 100 times from a Happy Father's Day card that I wrote to him.
That's brutal.
He was putting some skin on me.
No, that's not.
Just gotta
that is
tell
not,
you.
That's changing your whole DNA structure.
You see, so
I was
feel
putting
our
skin on
son-
him,
I
though.
feel like our son has always had like a gentler side to him that's not super like, So anyway, it's always been like, oh, you only say that because you're my mom. And how many kids say that actually? You only say that because you're my mom. But it's true. It's how we see you, And so that's I'm not fluffing you up extra because of that. I love all of that, And so when this guy showed up the day before my birthday with a magic show, it's a day after work. Like, it's a day after getting up super early. I'm
But it's
tired.
great because it's the start of our weekend.
Because I took my birthday off. Now, never have done that before because we can do something on it, right? It's no big deal. You work it. But this time my birthday landed on a Friday. It so happened to be that the day after, you're going to be super exhausted. And I was like, why not? Let's do it. And I know I said this already before, but on my birthday, we are watching Gone with the Wind. Oh my God. And you are not allowed to fall asleep. So if we
I
have
will-
to start very early and take breaks and everything, we will
I will
make
make
it
it
a
through.
Lord of the Rings extended edition.
God, how long
Okay.
is this thing?
I have to warn you, it's 5 hours.
No, it's not.
I have to warn you. Okay? It
No, it's
is
not.
Lord of the Rings
Bro.
extended edition,
God.
but you promised me that we were going to watch it together.
Bro, are you kidding me?
Do you think I would lie to you? Tell the audience.
Bro, for real? That thing is 4 hours long?
You don't feel it though. It's like the 90 minutes in the escape room.
No, it's not.
You don't feel it.
Can I call out sick?
Bro, you can't do that to me. I'm looking forward to it, okay?
That's a rough.
No, it's not a rough.
It's not for you.
You are uncouth until you've watched this movie.
4 hours.
Remember a 3-hour tour?
I must suffer. I must suffer through it.
So that's what we're doing. And then we're going to our very favorite Italian restaurant for dinner, which we have reservations. And Saturday,
We've got-
we're going to
Yeah.
Broadway, Peter Pan.
yes,
And
UFC at night.
yes.
And then Sunday. Is there something else? Am I missing something?
Gone with the Wind Part 2.
What part 2? There's no part 2.
There is a Part 2, but we don't speak of it. It wasn't
Is
made
there really?
by yeah, but it wasn't made by the same person, so it doesn't count.
Oh.
Anyway, I do want to give you thanks for my birthday gifts, which I shall now reveal. Can you see?
Oh, that's not fair. The other thing didn't come in yet.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
So I love Star Wars, and you asked me who my favorite character is, and it's Anakin in all of his forms, from when he was little to when he was Darth Vader. So you got him in his starfighter, and my favorite, Darth Vader as he rises as Lord Vader. I did that really good, no? And then from the new series, Mando and Baby. We used to call him Baby Yoda.
Yeah, but he's Grogu. Anyways, so
Wait.
and there were a couple other. What other things you got? Oh yeah.
And I've got Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. Which I love this. But
And there's other little stuff
no.
that's been in and out.
This.
Oh, there's still more.
Oh my God. For anybody who knows anything, who's been listening to the podcast, I'm obsessed with Dracula. And this puzzle, I have to say, is a puzzle that every part of it is depicting a different critical part of the novel. I can take you to the page and read you verbatim what's happening on the puzzle. An amazing,
It's a puzzle.
amazing gift. No, it is not just a puzzle.
You're very excited for a puzzle.
Oh,
Wait, do the
yes. Look at this.
reveal.
And let's do one. Let's do. my
Oh,
God.
what a great one.
What a great one. Look at this. Oh, all the pages are like that. Oh my God. I feel like I've gotten spoiled. And of course, now these are the gifts that I was gifted. These are the gifts that I gifted myself. Books are always going to be my thing. Tell me that this is not the most beautiful, absolutely beautiful edition of Frankenstein. Okay? It's like you're seeing red. I love that. And the pages, oh my gosh. And last one. How beautiful is that? Retelling of like Disney
Peter Pan.
stories.
Hey,
yes.
we're gonna go see Peter Pan on Saturday.
Hey. The end.
The end. Not the end.
No, because we still have Gone with the Wind.
No, and there's something else that's coming in that I already told you about.
That's true, which will show for my birthday. We'll have it actually then.
All right. That works.
So, but
All right.
lovely that you matched me
How
with
did I match
blue.
you?
You matched
Oh.
my energy. Your
Oh, it's
pants
like a
are blue. Your hat is blue.
Well, no, this is.
You've got a whole.
It's a Super Mario thing.
Yeah,
going
can
on.
you show your hat to the crowd? Because I think it's so lovely. If you play Mario Kart, I'm seeing several characters I love on Mario Kart.
It's just Super Mario. That's
I
Mario
didn't know
Brothers
I wasn't allowed to
number
play
2.
when I was a child.
This is the second Mario
My
Brothers.
cousins were not sharing with me.
No. Anyways, ready to go and enjoy the rest of the day?
Yeah.
got-
Let me see what we got.
We got a thing,
Baseball.
and then we've got
More baseball.
and then there's a thing that we're doing later
At
on.
the end,
is
baseball.
It's baseball season.
Which I'm just going to put it out there. This is how we're going to close. I feel like we have been untrue to ourselves. Okay. We discussed in our Q&A podcast about how honesty is so critical for us. And we have been holding back on each other.
Bye.
Okay. With baseball. All right.
No.
Yeah. No,
No,
you
hold
said
on.
bye. Now I get to
Hold on.
speak.
No.
Okay.
No.
We're sitting there.
This is where.
No.
This is where consideration comes into play.
Let them decide. Let them decide about this. Okay.
I told you at the beginning
You don't
of
want to
this
unleash
season,
this
you
beast.
do not want to unleash.
That's what you said.
Of course.
And internally,
I'm still holding.
I am
holding,
there watching games at work, listening to games when I can.
That's fine.
Watching what.
That's fine.
And then when we get home,
Our
I'm
life
like, hey,
would be ruined.
no, it would not be ruined.
There would be
Anybody who
nothing
does
other
football season, they know Sundays are for
football-
football, and it
yes,
starts on Thursdays.
Sundays.
Thursdays.
No, hold on.
Now Saturdays.
Bro,
Sundays and Mondays.
baseball is every single day.
For a season.
If you saw
For a season.
okay, 162 games
For a season.
per team. Times who knows how many. Okay, we got to go to the Dodger game this week in the middle of the week, and if you guys saw our video
Did you post our short in the story?
Yep.
Did you post it on YouTube?
on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Did I put it on YouTube?
No, I didn't see it on YouTube.
No, I put it on Instagram.
You need to put it on YouTube.
It was a phenomenal time. Midweek, and we got to go see.
It was on a Monday. It was not midweek
Yeah.
because I said if you could make my Mondays like this every Monday,
know,
I
right?
would love Mondays.
And then what did we do yesterday? So yesterday we went to go see Theo Von, on his comedy tour, and before we went to go see the comedy, we went to go have some sushi, and while we're sitting there having some sushi,
Say possum.
Shut up. While we were having some sushi, we start looking at games. So now we're going to go see second. So we have the Braves that we were going already in August, and now we're going in September.
I think you're mistaken.
No, there's 2 games in August that we're going to go to for the Braves. There's a game for the Padres, and there's a game.
The Braves are going to see in June, and they come back
June
in
and
August.
And then the Padres are in September. And then the Yankees.
And the Phillies are, I want to say August.
August.
Yeah.
And then the Yankees are, I think it was September.
Maybe not happening.
Well, it depends. Those tickets are really wild.
Ridiculously expensive. But
Anyways,
anyway, we confessed to
I
each
would
other
listen.
yesterday that there is
Have
times
you
where we
noticed how
sit
we're
down.
not even talking about, like, we're using the Marlins to see the teams that we want to see. That's all we're doing.
How many people do that, though? Do you think a lot of people do that?
The Marlins suck.
Listen, who did we just see right now that's playing super awesome for the Marlins? And I looked over at you and I was like, he's not going to be a
not gonna
Marlin
be the
next year.
Yeah, it's a farm
That's
team.
exactly what they do.
It's a
And
farm
that's
team.
unfortunate. You know,
whatever.
we saw a guy take off his Marlin jersey to celebrate with the
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Yeah,
Bro,
we were at.
like, what?
Was that the game we were at? No, it was the day on
The
Tuesday.
day after.
Shohei Ohtani hits a triple, and in the celebration of the triple, the guy rips off his Marlins
He
jersey,
throws it away like it's
down,
like,
and
ew.
starts cheering for the Dodgers. Anyways,
Anyway, what a great life. Living our best life, baby.
yes, we are. Hashtag. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't even know where to start to think about what are we going to name this episode. Escape from reality, maybe. That's a good one. I don't know. We'll think about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Why am I stuck?
Say possum.
Possum. And there it is. This is how it happens.
People see it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. Beep. We're doing it live. Okay.
All right.
I hope
Till
you enjoyed the
next time.
episode. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends. Enjoy.
Send
leave
us your
comments.
questions.
Send us questions.
Yeah, if you have any additional questions,
All
you
that
don't have
other
to
good
wait
stuff.
for a Q&A.
Yes,
we'll
absolutely.
gladly answer questions.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Goodbye now. Say goodbye.
Cheers.